Доброго дня, шановні наші.
Good afternoon, dear guests, dear speakers who are present here in the press room and who are watching us online. And I'm happy to announce the next press briefing in the UCMC. Invitation to the participation in a program of response of communities to the emergency situations clear. I invite Mr. Volodymyr Kupriy, expert on public involvement, expert, DOBRE Program. Good afternoon. A year ago, you might hear the program name Shelter, and the year had passed, and now we have to respond to the challenges which appeared together with the military aggression. Local communities require our assistance, and local communities launch a new program, the response to the emergency situations. The English abbreviation sounds like CLEAR. And today we would like to invite local communities to participation in this program. And I'm pleased to give the floor to Mr. Travis Gartner, Director of Ukrainian branch of the Global Communities.
Thank you, Volodymyr, for the introduction. My name is Travis. I'm the country director for Global Communities, based full-time in Kyiv. First of all, I'm very excited to see that there's so much interest among local organizations to participate in CLEAR. I know a lot of you are very familiar with or have even partnered with the DOBRE program, implemented by Global Communities, which Volodymyr is a part of. I don't need to tell you about the great work that the team has been doing for 6 years now. They have been so very helpful in helping us both design CLEAR and get it set up. So it's really based on their reputation that we're implementing this program. Huge thank you to the DOBRE team. As will be presented today, CLEAR is a unique program because of its focus on capacity building of local organizations rather than simply delivering the assistance. Capacity building on CLEAR will involve administration, operations, logistics, and technical support in areas ranging from protection, shelters and settlement, WASH, among others. Talking with Volodymyr, I know that many of you already have substantial capacity and you're capable of doing many of these things, the CLEAR components, on your own. While others, we hope, are newer to the response effort. And that's a good thing. So, because CLEAR has a very strong reflection and learning component. So it's our way of capturing lessons that we learn, and we want to work together with you to apply those lessons as we learn them and constantly adapt our activities and yours as we implement together. So more on that later. Just a bit of background. The program was awarded in July. It's expected to run for 18 months, so we have a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. We are already putting together our team of about 60 Ukrainians here in Kyiv and in the target oblast, which we will discuss in a minute. The role of their role on this program will be to support you and your organizations. We're making pretty good progress. We've got a lot of people in place, one of whom is Yulia Hrytsku. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She's our key leader one of our key leaders on this project, who is joining us today. She will be overseeing the partnerships component and working closely with all of you. We also have two local partners that will be joining us today. One, Poshmishka, will support implementation in Chernivtsi and the Ukraine Foundation for Public Health in Chernihiv. They will also be developing their own scopes of work, so doing things, we did things similar with them that we're doing with you today. They're going to design their own scope of work. They're going to conduct their own needs assessment. We're going to work together on finalizing their scope of work and award, hopefully this week. And so those are the two key players that you will be working with. I'm sure many of you already know both of these organizations. So I'll hand it over to the Pashmishka team to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their work, followed by UFBH. Thank you.
Thank you. Сьогодні вже Тревіс згадав
Travis has mentioned Yulia Hrytsku, who will carry out the function of partnership manager. Partnership actually is going to be a foundation of this program. Now I would like to give the floor to Yulia, and she will present the partners.
Доброго дня, колеги, ви мене чуєте?
Так, добре чую.
Отже,
I would like to thank to the international partners for support, for that support which we are getting from them today, and especially for the institutional support. I believe this is the most important thing which Ukraine requires today. Besides that, it is an honor for me to be the partnership for the CLEAR program and deal with the development of local organizations. I will start with the presentation of our first two partners who made commitments and who will help us in building up our local work with the local partners. Our two leading partners will help us to reach the many components in civil society at the second and third level. They will develop partnerships which will fit the local context in our target regions. And these two big organizations will allow us to collect data about context, involve civil society organizations, set the priorities for local development, to introduce coaching and plan the activities of those organizations. Together with the global community, will support the activities of civil society and develop capacities of civil society and how to protect the local data and to protect the local communities. We are, for the first year, this will be our first year in Ukraine, and we are very committed to start the work immediately. Thank you. I would like to appeal to the spectators. If you are watching us online on Facebook, I would like to encourage you to ask questions. And we will do our best to answer these questions in full today. And once again, about the call for participation to the local communities and invitation to submit your applications for the participation in the program. Global Communities has been working in Ukraine since 2016. This is, of course, not the first program which we launched in Ukraine, and we work with the DOBRE program, which covers 100 local communities from 10 regions of Ukraine, and responding to the risks what have arisen in Ukraine in relation to the military aggression. We decided to launch this new program about strengthening capacity of local communities to respond to the security and emergency issues in the community. So now my invitation is aimed at the target regions. The CLEAR program is funded by USAID, and it was launched quite quickly. And what is also important, the humanitarian program will be based on three main pillars, which I will discuss a bit later. This is about support, about defense, and about access to security and hygiene, sanitary conditions, etc. We also plan that the approach which we suggest, that is partnership with the civil society organizations, that this partnership is going to be established at three levels. Posmiška and our partners will work with civil society organizations in our target region. This will be partnerships of the second and third level. They will help them to strengthen institutional capacity of those local organizations. So our CLEAR program plans to cover 20 local communities and 22,000 of people in those local communities. Humanitarian assistance, it's not just delivery of parcels, food, or quick response to the everyday needs of people. This should be perceived much broader. This should be seen as an ability to organize effective support to those people who find themselves in difficult life conditions, like internally displaced people, and this humanitarian aid requires a huge interaction between different actors in this process, like local authorities, civil society organizations, and the immediate beneficiaries, those people who need this assistance. And of course, assistance delivery should comply with the humanitarian aid delivery principles, which says that the assistance should be provided based on the neutrality principle. It should be efficient. It should be accountable. That is, those who are recipients of the assistance should understand what's going on, that their interests are taken into consideration, and of course, the assistance should be targeted to those people who require it. Well, in this work, which I'm describing today, the first step to organization of partnerships of the second and third level is to express your interest in several steps. As of today, in the public space portal, you can find an announcement that CLEAR program is inviting local organizations to express their interest in participation in this program. To express your interest, you have to fill in a questionnaire, you have to fill an application form, and in the preliminary assessment form for your financial status as an organization, you may download the package of documentation and review it and then fill in it. But this is the first stage of selection process. After the first submission stage, then the selected shortlist participants will need to provide the preliminary assessment, what assistance they will require in future. Then the regional partners, Posmishka.ua and Ukrainian Foundation of Public Healthcare, will develop action plans and select the local communities where the CLEAR program assistance will be delivered. All that continuous activity will be developed together with the capacity development, strengthening of capacity development. That is, we will train how to develop service delivery and to strengthen the quality of the service delivery. The applications will submission will be started today and last till the end of the second week in September. By September 5, you are able to ask questions in writing and forward them to the indicated email address. Later, the selection process will take place. After September 17, the selection procedure will start. Upon finalizing the submission of applications and eventually in result of selection, up to there will be two stages of grants delivery. The initial grant up to $3,000 for participation in the joint program development will be delivered to the shortlist organizations. This amount of money will cover only participation in the process and cost related to the needs assessment. And later on, bigger grants up to $150,000 will be delivered for implementation of the selected programs. Whom we're looking for in the regions. First of all, we look for organizations with experience in Chernivtsi and Chernigiv regions. That is, we are not seeking for the organizations who have legal registration in Chernivtsi and Chernigiv region. This may be even temporarily relocated organizations, but which work in Chernivtsi or Chernigiv regions, or this could be even organizations registered in other regions, but with the experience and the capacity to work in Chernivtsi and the Chernigiv region. Then the potential candidates should be able to demonstrate their experience in the area, which is expected to be carried out. That is, that they have access to the local communities, they know the target groups with which they're going to work, etc. And also, expressing your interest, you should demonstrate your capacity to carry out the activities within established time frames, because the time frame is rather short, which means that you have to act quickly and with a sufficient level of quality. When all the partners, regional partners of CLEAR program will receive the applications, assess them, will carry out the additional analysis to clarify whether potential third-level partners are able to work at the local level. They will check the additional information and come to some opinion. I would like to emphasize what is needed to participate in the program. Once again, you have to look at the Proster UA portal, find the questionnaire, and look at the list of documents and scope of information, and prepare the letter of interest. You may also find the letter of interest template among the package of documents. This letter of interest should be very clear and concise. Then you have to fill in the questionnaire comprising 3 sections. The first section is general information about your organizations, where you prove your experience in the chosen area. That you have to review your current activities, which will demonstrate your ability to work with the communities in those 2 regions, selected regions, and to offer the types of activities which you suggest for your work. You need not provide too many details. You should provide just general characteristics, what will be done for which group of population. That is to make the idea statement, what you are going to do. quite often in the applications, the applicants try to describe all the aspects of their work, all the experience. So I would like to point out that you have to describe only your experience in the relevant area of work. And these are the documents that have to be submitted by September 17. What we expect to see in the applications of the civil society organizations in terms of measures and activities, they should be aimed at protection, at provision of shelter and access to water supply, sanitary capacities, and hygiene, which is abbreviated to WASH abbreviation. Unfortunately, this program cannot support the ideas related to multi-purpose financial support or provision of medicines or monetary aid, etc. Since we deal with the three areas, you may offer flexible activities which involve different combinations of the three areas, target areas of the program. We are aiming social support of the target groups, internally displaced people, and those who were negatively impacted because of combat activities, including those who work with IDPs or who were other way adversely affected by the military aggression. The services might include the protection of children and also might include work with the victims of gender violence. This is especially topical issue for those communities which survived a temporary occupation. And when we speak about protection, we mean psychological, legal support to those who require that. We'll also include support of people who lost housing, with the support in getting this housing. This might be some parcels for reconstruction, minor reconstruction of houses or temporary shelters or temporary housing. This might be related to reparation of reconstruction of temporary housing or building up temporary housing for a short period of time for those who lost their houses, or temporary shelters. And third area includes assistance to people in access to water supplies, good sanitary conditions, and humanitarian conditions. That is, for example, provision of tanks for water preservation if the main water supply system is ruined. For example, and what else I have to say about applications? At this stage, of inviting to express interest, those civil society organizations which will demonstrate their ability to work in two target regions, in Chernivtsi and Chernigiv regions, should provide ideas about three target areas of protection, delivering shelters and provision of access to humanitarian services. Later on, this will be developed into the projects. Now I'm ready to answer your questions. As far as I see, we have questions. There is a question in our chat on the website. So the first question or comment, why are you having this project only in two regions? And a person from the Odessa regions wants to hear about whether this will sometime opened for Odessa participation. Maybe Travis will be capable to answer why only two regions were selected.
We understand the need is significant. However, as I noted in the introduction and as Volodymyr talked in his presentation, this is a unique program. BHA, Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance, doesn't generally operate with an emphasis on capacity building and localization, a term that may be hard to translate. Localization meaning working, like we said, together with actual partners, civil society organizations from the target communities, integrating capacity building with them as we're implementing the program together. So it's really a pilot program. If we do it and we do it very well, I can see where we could get expanded. That would be the hope. But for now, we're just focused on these two oblasts. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Ну, якщо можна зі свого боку декілька.
Thank you, and I would like to add a couple of words. If we think about the depth, quality, and the professional level of the work, we understand that we cannot cover everything. The need is huge, of course, but we have to keep in mind other programs, and that's why we decided to focus attention on the two regions, partially because it has a huge number of internally displaced people, and at the same time many communities in that region are subject to ruined places because of temporary occupation, like Chernigiv. The second question, whether local self-government organizations have to indicate the line of their budget, how they are going to use $150,000, etc. No, of course, they should not submit the budget for $150,000. Those who want to participate in this program, they have to understand that the measure that they are going to implement on the framework of clear program should not be more expensive than $150,000. Okay, it can be more expensive, but the program would not provide more than 150,000. And you are to offer the list of activities and the list of local territorial communities and the region where this is going to be made. So in first turn, you should indicate in what communities you are going to implement measures. And the second is to present the needs of that local community in the three areas, that is protection, access to sanitary conditions, etc. You should not just state that Putevl community in Chernivtsi region has problems with the access to water. But of course you can write this down, but you have to focus on the problem itself and indicate why there is no water at all, or the water supply pipes are damaged, or people who live there, they have no access to the water supply pipes, and so you have to characterize the problem which you want to resolve in the community. There is no limitation as to the number of local communities, but you should think carefully about what you can do physically. Not try to cover everything, but focus on very practical, very useful things which will resolve local problem, but will have a big value for the local community in terms of coping with the with real and important challenge. Please look at the questionnaire, the list of local communities, setting the needs, and selecting the area out of 3 areas, which I mentioned several times, and then description of the activity which you propose, and clearly state the target groups. Of course, it could be the local community in general, but this is quite abstract. The residents of community, they comprise different groups. You should very clearly understand what groups in this local community will benefit from your activity. I found out that there are many questions asked on YouTube besides Facebook, whether there is emphasis on local CSO or those which act in several communities. It does not matter. It can be an organization working just in one community, or the one working for several communities, or the one which works within the boundaries of target region. This may be an organization which is relocated from temporary occupied area, which works in a new territorial community, which is target for this project. Or this can be a CSO which works at higher level, almost national level, but works with local communities in the target region. Whether it is possible to get funding for the reconstruction of partially constructed building to adjust it as a rehabilitation center. This will be decided at a later stage. The restrictions, the limitations of the program, which I mentioned. If we discuss reconstruction, it's not about capital investment. It may be slight reparation, overhaul. It may be positive answer, but if it falls within limitations of the current program, whether the projects should be designed for a year, and whether this could be projects aimed at heating in the local communities, if heating is related to the provision of shelter, psychological support, psychological protection, access to water, sanitary conditions, and hygiene. In order to answer your question, I should know more details about what you mean. Now, let's start answering questions on YouTube. Once again, the requirements to the CSOs who want to join the project. I would like to point out once again to the selection criteria for the winners. Under CSOs, we mean civil society organizations and charity organizations. CSO is a general name for NGOs and charity organizations. These organizations should be legal entities. That is, they should have a state registration. They should demonstrate experience or work in 2 regions, either in both regions or in one of those target regions, Chernihiv and Chernivtsi regions. They should be able to demonstrate broad experience in those regions where they plan to work. These organizations should demonstrate their technical capacity. That is, a CSO which consists of me and my friend probably would not be able to demonstrate technical capacity to carry out serious tasks. they should have experience and understanding in the sphere which they suggest for grants. For example, even organizations offer support to the victims of gender violence, they should prove that they have such an experience in delivery of such services, and they should clearly and soundly demonstrate the need in target groups for the event that is legal registration, capacity to work, and capacity to carry out the project that they offer. There are several complaints and chant that the form which you mentioned could not be opened. Yes, I have to confess that just before the event, we downloaded that into the website, and we will resolve this problem a bit later. Whether it is possible to apply for the equipment of bomb shelters, bunkers, which could be seen as a provision of shelter. Well, it falls, formally, it falls within the targets of the program, but we should clearly understand what it is about. Whether we can cover several territorial communities, only those who participated in DOBRE program, or is it possible to participate for organization just for one program? Global Communities has several programs in Ukraine. DOBRE is one program. CLEAR is another program. CLEAR programs works with all local communities in 2 target regions, in Chernivtsi region and Chernigiv region. That is, you need not be a member of the DOBRE program or participant of the DOBRE program to apply for this CLEAR program. And no limitation for the number of local communities and for the volume of services that you want to offer for participation in the project. It looks like I've voiced out all the questions. I tried not duplicate the questions. Thank you. And now you may add what you want. Those who might be interested, you may ask questions and send them via email address. As of now, there is the issue with uploading questionnaire on our website. Very soon we will resolve this issue, and I would like to remind you that it's better to ask more questions than to submit imperfect application, and I encourage you to ask questions, and we and our partner organizations will do our best to answer as soon as possible. Whether Mr. Travis or Yulia have some comments, final comments maybe.
Actually, Volodymyr, thanks. Just one thing to keep in mind is that we encourage you to consider forming consortiums amongst yourselves, where if your expertise is in settlements and shelter, and somebody else is very strong in WASH, or if you're strong in WASH and somebody else is strong in protection, to look for ways to come together. Only one grant per organization, but you could describe in your activities how you will leverage each other's expertise. You can demonstrate in your application that you've collaborated with other organizations to design whatever it is you propose. And then during co-creation, we can flesh that out more. Another example, if you're already receiving funding from the UN, from OCHA, from one of the other BHA implementing partners, for example, if you have money for NFI, but you don't have money to distribute those NFI, or you don't have enough money to layer on protection, safeguarding, or other issues of interest to this program, then please describe how this program could leverage those funds or complement those other activities. So we don't expect you to be able to do everything that's in clear. You can pick a focus area, you can pick certain communities and justify why you're targeting these communities and why you're focused on this particular technical area. And then we encourage you to reach out with others and collaborate in coming up with ideas of how you might work together. Again, one grant per organization. You cannot make sub-awards from the $150,000 award that is if it's made to you. But you can still describe how you would collaborate with other actors and programs in your areas. We would highly encourage that. Yulia, maybe you have something to add.
Thank you, Travis. Дякую, Travis. Я би хотіла...
Thank you, Travis. I would like to add that the selection of communities with which you will work, I suggest that you may select from different areas. WASH, other issues for reconstruction and psychological support. This might be not only women and children. This could be related to sustainable development. And they encourage everybody to ask questions. The more your application is creative, the more chances is that you will get support from the program. Thank you. Well, then let us wrap up our informational session and let us aim our activities at the needs of people in the local